I'm Travis Norman. I grew up in Ocean Springs. I was born January the 8th, Elvis's birthday, 1943. I graduated high school in 1961. I didn't go to Ocean Springs High School but 4 years. I went to St. Alphonsus for 8 years with the nuns. And of course, they trained me.
Yeah.
So they took care of us. We were 2 blocks away from where we lived from the school. So my brother and I both went to St. Alphonsus for 8 years together. So, but after I got through with the 8 years, I knew all my friends in Ocean Springs. So my brother went to Notre Dame for 1 year. Then he went to Ocean Springs, so I decided I'd go be with all the people I knew. So then I got my Catholic teachings and all that stuff, so I knew what was going on. So.
Okay, we're going to hear a lot of stories, Travis, and you are one of those folks that have lived primarily in Ocean Springs all your life. So you have a lot of tales and you have a lot to tell us, but we really want to begin sort of when you were little, and we want to know about your family. I know about your mother. I don't, and of course I know Johnny, but I don't know much beyond that. So tell us a little bit about your family.
Okay. On my father's side, my father, like I said, from Vardaman, Mississippi, where they grow all the sweet potatoes. And how he made his way to Ocean Springs was he joined the Conservation Corps back before the war. You know what the Conservation Corps was? And he came to Ocean Springs to build Magnolia State Park, which is now the National Seashore. That was around 1938, I guess. So they had the cabin there. He lived there and lived there in the cabins and stuff. They had in Kincaid. And at that time, my mother's dad, John R. Seymour, had a seafood business on the foot of Washington Avenue. And my Uncle Mark, my mother's brother, had a restaurant lounge called the Anchor Inn. So all the boys in Camet, they would go there and get to eat and dance and drink and have a beer or two and stuff. And my mother worked for her daddy. She quit school in the 8th grade. She went to 3 schools. She went to St. Alphonsus, then she went to, they had a private school down the foot of Dewey Avenue on the corner there of Kensington. No, LaFontaine. And then she went to Ocean Springs, and was just on the corner where the city hall is now. And she got tired of going to school, so she went to work for her dad in the seafood business. She drove an old Model T with a crank. She hand cranked it. She delivered seafood to all the hotels and stuff in town. She delivered seafood to the dining cars, L&N Railroad. I still have the book documenting a lot of that stuff. If I get back in the house, I want to try to find all that stuff because, having somebody in the house don't know where to find stuff, but I hope it's still there, But yeah, it has all the documents in the ledger.
What a treasure!
Yeah. So my dad, like I said, he came from Vardaman, Mississippi, and he stayed with he got to Camet until they shut down the Conservation Corps in 1942. And so he stayed, they married in 1938 too. So, and then of course Johnny came along, my brother, in 40. I came along in 43. He went to work at the VA at the time, and between the time I was born and he died in 1940. I was 5 years old. But just what Mother told me, he went to work at the VA for a while, and then he was a cook, and the oven blew up in his face, and he swallowed that soup, he did hair. But back then too, his sisters had TB. TB was very rampant, and they didn't know whether he had TB or what it was, and so they put him in the sanatorium for a while trying to experiment. They collapsed his lungs and put sterile air in, and that kind of stuff. He was back and forth, and so at that time I was just a baby, and his mother was living in Hardy Court in Gulfport. So, and of course, Mama's mom was in the house. Now that was her house. Her name was Lula. She was Lula Vancourt. So we came to the Vancourts too. So she came from New Orleans. So what we did, they split us. We stayed with Mama at her mother's, and my daddy went to his mother's in Gulfport. just in case they had TB that didn't want us to catch it, you know. So, but we go back and forth and visit some, you know, and he'd come and visit me, but just couldn't know back and forth, and they never could figure it out. But it just took him down, and finally in 1948, back when I was there the day he died, I can remember the hearse picking him up, you know. And one thing that's stuck in my mind is that he told us, he told the mom, he said he didn't mind dying, but he said, the only sad thing about it, I'm going to get to see my boys grow up. Mm-hmm. And so in April in 1948, he passed away. Mm-hmm. And then his mother, he's buried right across the street there in Belanger Cemetery. Had no place to put him, but as luck happened, we knew the family Rousses. He worked for the railroad, they moved to Mobile, and they had a spot there. Rousses, in fact, Ray Belanger's cousin, some's buried there too. So let us bury Daddy in the Belanger Cemetery right there, and later Mother was buried there too. But so we had no kind of a pot to piss in. I wanted to throw it out of, you know, at the time. So Mama took him sewing, and she made dolls and all kind of stuff and raffled stuff out to make money. Of course, my grandmother, her husband Johnny, he died in 1938. He committed suicide. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And so so she was getting a little bit of money from the government. Plus, she owned Pastime Bar, and she had a little house.
This is your grandmother?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she got money from the bar, and she got money from rental. That kind of helped out. And then Mama, like I said, took him sewing and stuff like that. And in 1949, the Earl Moore Company came to town, cap and gowns and then gym suits. And they opened up above Loveless Drugstore. And Mama went to work for them the second day they were open. And then they built the plant now where they got the new OS 1515. That's where the Earl Moore Company was there. She worked 20 years with them, and we helped raise us boys, you know, $40 a week, you know, that kind of stuff. So, and so then Mother never remarried. She remained single. She took care of us, but she was very active, you know. She bowled with the bowling team, but the Earl Moore, she was active in the VFW auxiliary because the post, VFW post, Mark Seymour post, is named after her brother. That was her brother. So she was active in that. And she'd take us over in the car with her, and we'd sit there in the Browns bowling alley and watch them bowl, you know, doing things, you know. So, and so getting back to my grandfather, his dad, Narcisse Seymour, he started the business, and back in the 20s, they had no seawall and no beach drive there. His business was out on the water, so the county made him tear the place down to move, and they told him they could go back after they had built a seawall and all that stuff. So he moved over some friar property, stayed there until they built the seawall, and so time to go back, they wouldn't go back, so they moved, and where the triangle is down there, that's part of the friar property. Mm-hmm. He moved on there for a while and opened back up. And then the property on the corner there, Washington and Front Beach, I have a picture of them for sale, signed there on the book there. But he bought that property and opened up, again, the John R. Seymour Seafood. And then later on, my Uncle Mark built the Anchor Inn. That was the place where my dad met Mama, you know. So that went on.
Where was the Anchor Inn? Right there?
Foot of Washington Avenue.
Oh, that's where.
It's an empty lot there now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the guy that built that house, that gray house up on here, he paid $1 million or so for that property. So much back a while back. But so so when Mom, like I said, mother worked for her dad, you know, and she delivered something like to all the hotels. I tell you that the day the Shanahan Hotel burned down, she had just gone in there and dropped off seafood and left the place, and the kitchen caught on fire and the place burned down. That's on the corner of the children's.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Where
she
the
was
children's
there that
park?
day.
Yeah, right.
Oh my
The children's park?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The
Okay.
steps stayed there for years, for the place. Yeah. Right after she left, it burned down.
Wow.
Because a lot of hotels burned down in Ocean Springs during that time.
Yeah.
You've seen the thing that Blandy put together.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have a copy of that.
Yeah.
And of course, she worked her dad and think about my grandpa. Now, of course, what happened there was, as Mama told it, and I read a little bit about it. My grandfather bought the property from a guy named Berto. He was a steel company owner out of New Orleans. He owned the property. He had a guy named Sanders who worked for him, and of course Jack Boje. He had a boat dock down the harbor. He'd come over, and so he owned that property on the corner there. And so Grandpa was looking for a place to put his shop and move out to Triangle. So he bought that property, I think, for, I don't know, $450, $45, I don't know. It's in there. So he moved his shop there and built that. That was in, how much it had to be before 30, I'm not sure how many years he was there before it happened. So he built the shop there, and then later on, my uncle built an Anchor Inn behind it.
Tell us about when you were a child growing up. What did you do for fun? Who were
Okay.
your little playmates?
Okay.
Were you a happy kid? That kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and I don't remember a whole lot about. We did a lot of things. We did neighborhood kids. We had Sonny Cox lived next door, and all. And Williams, just Harry Williams behind us, and then different people. We had people living in a little house back. Some of the CC Camp people lived in Al Speed. Remember Bo Speed?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
lived in the house. They made an apartment there in the big house. They lived there. Judy Speed and all them folk.
Yeah.
And then, so things I remember about that, my daddy, he was handicapped. He made us airplanes out of apple crates. I remember that. And Mama made a little pilot to go in there. He didn't fly, but I remember that. And then I remember falling on my scooter and splitting my knee open, and him taking me to get my staples in my knee. I think Dr. Haslett did that, I believe. And then, of course, I can't remember going to the what's name now, to the sanatorium. I got pictures of me with Mama holding me at the sanatorium. I don't remember that.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot of things. And I remember the us out in the yard Easter time. Still got some of those rabbits and dressed up for Halloween and stuff like that. So that's from age 1 through 5. And then, of course, turned 6 was time to go to school, and my birthday fell on the 8th after the year, so the nuns let me come early. So I started first grade at 5. And of course, somebody complained about it because the daughter was the 15th of February. And I'm going to tell you who it was, Kathleen Seymour. Known kinfolks, though. So they kicked me out of school. Then they told me I had to drop out of school. So Miss Ship, who lived behind me, the Ships who lived behind me, Grant
Remember
Ship,
the
you ever
name.
know them?
Remember the name?
Well, she was a former school teacher, so she I went back and she homeschooled me for a good while. I got ahead of everybody. So next year I went to St. Alphonsus, and of course I went 8 years, like I told you. I can remember through things about that. I know went through all the catechism and all that stuff. And in the 4th grade, I wanted to become an altar boy. I had to learn the Mass in Latin. Had to recite it in Latin before you could even serve Mass, So we did that, and of course, once we'd sorted that, and there were some weeks I went to serve Mass early in the morning, get on my bicycle, freezing cold. Had the old church there. Then we had to light those stoves, on the church for the people coming. So and then I graduated from St. Alphonsus in 8th grade. I was valedictorian. And Teresa Horner was salute. Do you know Teresa Horner? No. Miss Horner, who was a school teacher, lived down with Harry Horner. Remember that? Down the foot down. But doing the first 5 years, that's basic. And of course,
And you were
went to
in
school, and then of course we had paper routes. Our first job, So, and then
How old were you then?
I don't know, maybe I was fifth grade, sixth grade, something like that. Did have on some papers we had to deliver, and did it when the president would break down. We'd be all hours of the night delivering papers. That love was laying down there.
Yeah.
Johnny had a paper out, so then after that I did some yards and stuff, and then we went. Then the biggest thing we did was my brother, who V.C. Bryant was his big buddies. He was the projectionist at Ellen's Theater, and Johnny was helping him out, and so V.C. just got mad and quit. So Johnny started running the projectors, and then so I got up in the booth with him. I was 13, 14 years old, and Johnny was 15, 16. We were running the movie theater. We even spliced film together because we had movies running on Sunday, Monday, and then we had Tuesday by itself, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And we had to put together a previews reel. We spliced that all together with a cartoon or comedy. That was the big thing back then. See? And I sold tickets up in the balcony to the blacks. In fact, it was colored back then. No, we were segregated. I put up all the posters, and once a month we get a listing of all the movies. So I'd go through the stack of billboards, and I put them up front of so everybody can see what's coming, So, but that was the best seat in the house, up in the balcony. Shepard Van Cleve, they had a seat up there. He was so. Remember Shepard Van? You ever heard about him? He was so big and fat. They had him a special seat up there where you go up there.
So you could fit.
He'd put two double wide seats,
Did you have the armrest?
He was the only white guy up there, I think. He'd come to the movies, and that's where he was. Back before I was born, though, the theater had that inside theater and outside. In summertime, they showed the movies outside.
I didn't know that.
I don't remember that, Travis.
yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they would, in bad weather, they'd go inside.
Wow.
And the projectors, they weren't in this fancy stuff. Now they were carbon arc that made the light. A spark between two carbon rods.
Wow.
And you had to make sure you kept those things the right distance or it could burn the film. Because it burned the film if the movie played 2 nights. We had to pull it out there, splice. We spliced, cut the film, spliced it back together right there. If it broke, we spliced it together with, we didn't, and we had to rewind those things. I don't know what you're familiar with. You ever watch the old movies? Have in the right hand corner you see a dot, and the dot pop up.
Yeah.
You know what that is? You have 2 projectors. You have one running. You have one already loaded, ready to go. When the first circle, this is a circle, pops up, you start that projector.
Oh.
Okay, and then when the next one pops up, you pull a handle to close a lens cover on this one. It opens the lens cover so they don't miss a beat.
Wow. I did not know that. Interesting.
But I do remember going to the theater and there being an interruption. You just quit. And
Yeah.
that's when y'all had to go to work.
Broke the film.
That's when you
they
had to go
to work to get it back. Either caught on, it burned or it broke. It's those 35 millimeter stuff, and of course we had to feed the thing. And of course, I was up there helping Johnny rewind because it showed twice that night. We had to get those reels back ready to go, So, and but like I said, it had double features on the weekends, and we had a midnight show sometime. And on Saturday mornings, we had a kids thing, cartoons and Little Rascals and Stooges. And sometimes we'd have like a monkey show or a clown show. They'd come from 9 o'clock to then. So, but we were barely teenagers. We ran the movie house and ran it well,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And after that, Johnny went to work with Western Auto, and I went to work at Durbin's TV. But then the big thing that I did was Roger Holloway, who was an old maid. She lived right across the street, and she had a lot of property, and she had horses and goats. And so I went work with her. I was like took care of, like a caretaker. That older black gentleman, Clark, his name was. He used to pull fence line, and so what I did, I took care, helped her out. I helped her wash clothes. The reason why I mentioned Shepard Van Cleve, when we start washing clothes, and he comes a big old sheet through. See, here comes Shepard Van Cleve. Roger would say that. Name was Roger Holloway. She ran the laundry at Keesler Field.
Okay.
So she had two brothers. Had a spinster brother, and then I had another brother who was married. But on Sunday afternoon, we'd hook the horses up to the buggy and go take a buggy ride. I'd feed the goats and fed the horses and mowed the grass, painted fences. I could help wash the cars, and she died and got cancer. Wouldn't have a breast taken off, but she died. She often told me, she said, Travis, I have nobody to leave this to, but she didn't do a will. So back while she was dying, her sister-in-law, her brother had died, her sister-in-law, Jeff Holloway, I think he had died. They wouldn't let me near her. Mm-hmm. And then the maid, Mary Jones, you knew Mary Jones? She was up on Government Street. She rocked me when I was a baby. She told Miss Holloway, she said, the sister-in-law, that Miss Holloway wanted Travis to have this, and they fired her. Oh. And they wound up drinking up most of the property. So the property to the cemetery, but Roger wanted to be buried there and donate property. That wasn't in writing. She's buried over in New Orleans. She's buried with a dad, and they've been separate cemeteries, a mother and father in two separate cemeteries. So she's buried over there, and then so they sold that property, and then we bought the lot on the south side of the driveway, and that's what I sold to redo the house. But I was going to build a house on that, and decided to get married, and so.
But let's don't leave this before you tell us about the Sears and Roebuck house. When did you get that, and how did that all come about?
Mama told me I still got some of the receipts in there where the guy built the house for $3,300. Mama told me that's 1928 they built it. They tore the old house down. We had a long front porch house, had an outhouse and all. So there's pictures in the book of it. But there's some receipts in there where that's only Mama told me all about, that they ordered it all, and of course they used some of the lumber out of the old house. The decking on the roof is beaded wall board, tongue and groove stuff, and it's not plywood, nothing like that. So, but yeah, it was 1928 they finished it. They moved in that,
And some of the wood was from which house?
The original house.
Really? Mm. Okay, very neat.
But they ordered it on just Sears and Roebuck.
How much did it cost you?
$3,300 was the cost of the house. And they had a guy, a cousin or somebody, put it all together. Okay. There's some receipts, but they paid the guy to assemble it,
Yeah.
So.
And it's a good house. It's a good house.
Yeah, it's and then of course my aunt Leona, my mother's sister, she never got to see it done. Back then they had a lot of flu and fever stuff going on the Gulf Coast. A lot of people died. You probably read about that. I don't know. She was one of the ones that.
Really?
Yeah, she got it back at night. She was 24 years old.
Oh my gosh.
That piano, it was hers. She played that piano. Mm-hmm. Of course, Mama played the piano too, but played by ear. Mm-hmm. Never took a lesson in her life. Mm-hmm. So
y'all had some smart genes.
Yeah, and then
you and Johnny had some smart genes.
And then Leona was her name. She worked for D. Chevrolet. D. Chevrolet used to be across the street from Masonic Temple years ago. That's what he started at. And she watched every brick that was laid for the Masonic Temple back when they built it, back in the late 20s. Mm-hmm. But no, my mother got that fever and stuff, but all her hair fell out, but she made it. She didn't die. So. And of course, she had another brother named Alfred. He died as a baby. What happened was I got time to do this?
Yeah.
So my mother told me that Grandma and my grandfather John, they went out dancing or something one night, and she came home and she was nursing the child, and she nursed the baby, and they thought maybe the because of being so hot, from dancing. I probably shouldn't have done that. I think maybe it's contributed. The milk was not good or something. Never heard that before, So, but that's what she told me.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Bailey was the doctor back then. So Dr. Bailey was the doctor, and when he came in the last time to see Anna Leona, and told her, well, I can't do any more. Instead of putting her in the hospital, let her die in the bed. Mama said I could have shot him. Mama was a tough person. She was tough.
Yeah, you've got some good stories. But let's time. We do have a little bit of a time, so I want to hear about your high school.
Okay.
Okay,
I went. Like I said, I went to Ocean Springs in the 9th grade, and of course, I knew most of the people there because town was city limits in Magnolia, right there alongside of me. You see, that's how big the town was. so we got a bit of friends. Of course, lazy me, I have to go on valedictorian outside. I wanted to take shopping and some other stuff. I was wasting my time. And then March the 11th, 1958, I started in 57. They had a skating rink came to town in a tent. And I didn't know how to skate. I've been able to skate 2 or 3 times. So I went to skating. Mom didn't have any money, and I borrowed money from a friend of mine named Dennis Bortenbeck. Remember him? So, and my good friend Billy Harris tripped me. And I fell, and everybody fell on time and broke both bones. And down to my ankle there. And so I could put my foot down for 6 months. I couldn't go to school either. So, yeah, it was, and then, so I lay in bed, and then I started growing then. I grew 4 inches. And I grew so fast, and I couldn't get in the car to go to the hospital. I had to change my cast. Had to take me by ambulance. They looked at me every time I had to go see the doctor. I had to get an ambulance because I couldn't get in the car because I couldn't close couldn't close the doors.
Oh my gosh.
4 inches.
was it a small car?
Yeah, it was that old 55 Ford we had.
Okay.
Right when you break your ankle. Interesting.
I went to the bone attached to the ankle where it broke. Right down in.
So what did you do for 6 months? Did somebody come in?
My grandmother, my daddy's mama came. Came because my grandmother died other grandmother died in 56. And so grandmother, she moved in with us and took care of me, and that was a terrible, horrible.
How about school?
They sent me schoolwork home, but that didn't work out. So the next 3 years, I took my classes through those years and made up and graduated with my class. And the interesting thing about one of the things, I 9th grade English, I was taking 9th grade English and taking 12th grade English at the same time, Miss Newland. So I told Toxie Lucky, I said, we're basketball practice the 6th period, and I couldn't practice because that was 6th period going to English.
Yeah.
So I asked Miss Newland, said, how about if you give me a test? So we talked to Toxie Lucky, and they approved it, so I took a test. Made 98, I think it was on. So that way I could go practice with the basketball team, because we had a good team that year. And so then, of course, all the friends sat around me complaining because I was helping them to pass the course. They all got upset because I was leaving them. Harvey U, some of them, I was one of them.
Yeah.
So, but the biggest, I guess, to highlight that, because I was in this junior play, senior play, and did everything, we had a lot of fun times together, and could do some crazy things at
Well,
weekends.
tell us some about the crazy things you did.
We'd all load up and cars would race through Gulf Hills, chase each other on the dirt roads back then, chase each other in cars through Gulf Hills.
Do you want to get the phone? Or are you good?
Do you want me to get it? I don't know where it is.
No, and it's right down there about it. It's mainly.
He'll get it later.
It's important to leave a message, your man or something like that. But I get all these Medicare stuff right now. So we hung out with Anna Claire and Barbara Barrett. Remember Barbara Barrett? Kathleen, of course, she was my cousin. Vivian, and who else was in that? And of course, the guys with Tommy Jones and not too much with Bruce. Joel, some Denver, hung out with Denver, and so of course, Tommy's gone. Jack's gone, and Denver's cancer's come back. He may die, and then of course, we just went to dancing. Dances that was every weekend we had a dance at the Rock and Rebels would come play. Either we go to Biloxi and dance over there, and we did a Biloxi shuffle and all that time. This jitterbug, we'd cover the floor. Kids nowadays don't know what dancing is. They're scared of the hug girl, I believe.
Did y'all ever dance in the community center?
Yeah, yeah.
And remember, nobody thought that those murals were worth
right,
much.
right.
What'd y'all do?
I didn't do anything. I didn't touch them. I knew better. I knew they were something. I didn't touch them.
Yeah. Okay. But
No.
some of them didn't.
No.
We've talked about this before.
No, I knew all about
the boys.
I
would
knew all
smoke
about
in there.
all the Andersons. I used to see Walter go out and skip. I used to see the old boat going out and get the pottery, stuff for they go out to the islands to get the clay, Had a double-ended pointed boat, Yeah, I knew. Jimmy was 1 year ahead of me, and because Billy was in Johnny's class, and so we knew them all.
Yeah.
And but no, I knew what those.
Yeah.
And of course, we had in the weekends we had Coach Boyd would have like recreation stuff there for us. And we go back to Coach Boyd taught me how to play ping pong. We used to play, because he held a paddle different, so, but I used to play him all the time. I told him when to beat him, I think, sometime, So.
We'll have to play
Coach Shannon
sometime. I'll have to play.
Of course, then Shannon Suarez came, and he, of course, like I said, I played football because I'd broken my leg, and I'm afraid to. And then playing basketball, I was out for 2 years, and my junior year, I played basketball, and we won 2 ball games. I was back up to Howard Glass, may his soul rest in peace. He fell through the ceiling. The gym, remember that? Howard Glass. Did you know that?
I didn't remember how he died.
Worked for the Lou Roofing Company. Somebody put tall paper down. He fell right in the class. Kids, bring gym class. So back there, he quit, so I took over then. So during the summer before that, Shannon took us summer basketball. We went traveled all over, played teams, and that old blue van that Mr. What's his name had. He was a maintenance man, We sat on damn fold-up chairs and buckets. And Shannon took, and only had 2 seats in there, the driver and the passenger. And us. One night we got lost, the fog going up to the Kill to play Hancock North Central, But we played Philadelphia and played some other good basketball schools. And the next year we went all the way to the state championship.
That's great. Great.
We won 33 games and I think about lost 9, I guess it was.
That's great. I wanted to move to your teachers. Was there any particular teacher that you were close to or inspired you or that took an interest in you and you took an interest in them?
I like Miss Howard because she was real. We did the journalism and speech and did the newspaper. I was the reporter for that, and I did all the covers for the newspaper. I got them in the book right there. So
Cool.
they're in that book there. I drew them. And back then you had those stuff. You had to make these things and
Yes.
peel off type thing.
Yep.
It wasn't this. Then it got to this, But I did all the covers, and I wrote some stuff in that too. So I still got copies of them.
So Ms. Howard was one of your
Like
favorites.
Miss Howard, and then who else was it? Of course, Robert Ann. Robert Ann was my teacher. Of course, he was married to my cousin Bobby, Bobby Seymour. That was Mark's sister. You know that. You know that, don't you?
We,
That was Uncle Mark's daughter,
yeah, okay.
Ruth, remember her. But yeah, and of course I like Coach Glass. He was a character.
He wasn't a good teacher at all.
No, I did all the classes in the auditorium, and it was open book tests. He taught history.
He taught it, yeah.
He tried to teach history.
He tried to teach history.
Well,
But I don't think he liked to teach. He liked to talk more than
Oh yeah, we taught. Yeah, he called me Trav, Trav, and I can remember him sitting on this. Some of those games, he who were doing too well. He'd get what's his name? One of the managers. He'd go get. One time he would chew on the towel, and then one time he got one of them to go get a bag of popcorn. He's eating popcorn on the dam because we wasn't doing too well that game or something. He was something that he called me Trav. Yeah, I liked him, And of course, he wasn't a basketball coach. He got mad because he wanted plays. He teach us some plays, He didn't want to do that. All we did was run up and down the thing. Because we had Jack and Tommy, and I was tall, and I rebounded, and we had fast breaks and all. We scored a lot of points like that. Of course, they had Denver who could really shoot the ball well, and Bruce, and Joe was the sixth man on the team. We had quite a team,
you did. You absolutely
and
did.
we averaged 77 points a game,
Good grief.
I averaged 12 points a game. But
You remember so much. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Ocean Springs itself.
okay.
And you've been here a long time. I want you to talk about the old Ocean Springs and maybe what you miss about old Ocean Springs.
Well, it's, being a single parent mother, and of course we had to, like we said, we worked and we did different things. I can remember the Catchard grocery store when they come out. My son used to do the 26-gallon of milk and bread and stuff like that. I think the most embarrassing thing, not embarrassing, but Mama used to send me to Love's drugstore. She'd give me a note. You know what the note was? Napkins for women, Kotex. Back then they wrapped it up in brown paper. I remember that. So I had to hand that to the nurse. Not the nurse, to the woman there. I didn't know what that was, so I take those home, so Kotex. I said,
That's so funny.
and back thinking about that, back to grammar school. One day when I was coming down the hall, I had a bound pack of paper like that, walked past, and the girls were coming out of the bathroom, and they all started laughing. Pointed at that thing I had in my hand, thought I was carrying a box of Kotex.
Oh, no.
So I didn't know because they started period 12, 13 years old. So so that was go to Love's drugstore. He'd say, "Hey, take this note. I need something." She give me the money. I pick up her
supplies.
sanitary napkins. That was kind of one thing. Of course, on Sunday mornings, the town itself, I watched it grow. Every time a new building was coming, we wanted to know what was coming there. We were excited about that. Somebody's building a new store and stuff. And of course, McFarland's and McPherson's and all was there, and then they had the shorts and stuff, and then something in the Boots bar. Sometimes we'd go in there, and I just hung out with Tony, Tony Davis, and all the big shots of town. They played cards in the back room. Back room, you knew that, don't you? Poker, they play a poker game going. And we'd kind of go back, sneak back there, and watch it, and then we would. And of course, the other big thing too was had Tony Canale as a shoe man. Only owned one pair of shoes. He'd go there and sit down and take his shoes off. He'd put new soles on your shoes, new heels on your shoes, shine them up for you, put them back on. I did have a pair of tennis shoes though, but that's all.
You had
That's all we could afford, And of course, growing up too, I grew so fast, but we'd buy new clothes in the fall, springtime. Mama would cut the sleeves off with short sleeve shirts. Then she'd take the cuffs out and baste the bottoms for me. So she couldn't afford to buy clothes all the time, Same that. So
And where was that shoe
Right there where the
Vestige.
Vestige
Yes, I
is.
knew it. We went to Vestige last night for our anniversary, and I was like, I think this was a shoe place, and I'm glad
Martha's Tea Room, there for, and then Tony
Martha's Tea Room
Canale,
was-
and then I guess when the theater closed down, then we'd go, we'd catch the bus and go to Biloxi to the movies, go to 3D movies. We couldn't show 3D movies. And so we'd go to the singers, like Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments and all that stuff. Then we had a bowling team from high school. We would bowl on Sundays. And downtown, we met, like I said, we missed the theater. So mainly, we'd go down, like to dance, go to community center and dance. And weekends we'd go play ping pong, stuff like that, play some stuff, And of course, we had tennis courts there with City Hall is, and basketball. Every Sunday afternoon, the blacks would come and we'd play basketball against them there on the basketball courts and
Who would win?
go back and forth.
Pretty fair match.
That Elizabeth Keys it was, Some of those guys, they're still around. We remained friends, and we did.
I need to know some of their names. We need to know some of their names to interview them.
Yes, if you have friends, you can refer us to.
Yeah.
Most of them are gone.
Where would you play ping pong?
At the community
Oh,
center.
they had ping pong.
Yeah, like I said, Coach Boyd.
Okay.
He worked for the city. He was a recreation director doing the summertime, so it was something to do. But
How about town characters? Anybody you hadn't mentioned that you want to mention that you remember? And
my cousin Jack Dale,
oh, okay.
he was kind of awful, but he can't Cody would suck pencils down, like the pens and all, And of course Willie Dale was my cousin too, you knew that. But he was gone most of the time. He traveled the world. And then who else was it? Lydia Fryer. Remember Lydia Fryer?
Remember that name?
Lived on the corner there of Washington and Calhoun there, across the street where the Shannon Hotel was. She lived in there by herself, and
Why was she a character?
because she'd come over to school, and she'd come in church and holler and scream, and kids would jump out the windows and running.
Oh,
And she'd come to the school,
Yeah.
had to call the police to come get her on. Yeah, she was cuckoo. But
okay. What about Ocean Springs now? It's changed a lot. What are some of the pros and cons you see to what has happened over the years, Travis?
Well, it's grown good. Of course, downtown and Government Street is a mess, but that's the way it was built. That was built in the late 20s. When Highway 90 used to go through D'Iberville and St. Martin. That's when they built the first bridge. Of course, I got pictures when they opened it up, and the girl breaking the champagne on the drawbridge. And then my grandfather was an alderman, so he was in the pictures too. But it's because that's when all the streets were paved concrete too, and they built a seawall. They're doing that whole time frame, the late 20s, and of course that led to my grandpa's demise too. All that stuff, but can't blame them for that. But that's when. So all those concrete streets were done whenever they did Highway 90 all the way to Pascagoula, the new route. But it's interesting. A lot of things they have now, a lot of nice restaurants, and I was sitting in the new place, the Ocean Springs 1515. I went there and ate and sat there in the courtyard, and the food court. And I just told my niece and then I just can't believe this. You'd think a little town like this have something like this, So,
Yeah.
of course, I was on the planning commission, and I ran for office 3 times. I ran for alderman at large and lost, and ran for mayor in 2005 and lost by 73 votes.
Oh.
Macedonia beat me. In fact, I went to campaign with the Reverend Trotter, and I had to stick my foot in the door so I could talk to him. He wanted to shut the door in my face. Don't tell anybody that.
No.
Yeah, I put my foot in the door.
Oh my gosh, I
said,
didn't know
so I
that.
want to talk to you, you know. But they invited Connie to the Sunday church and invite me to come, you know. So, so then we got, and then of course down the road a piece, you know, like some of those guys. One of the guys in Baltimore one time, and we were talking about politics and Ocean Springs. The black guy, he's dead now. I can't remember his name. Lived on Channel Persian, and a couple of brothers, I can't remember his name now, but he said, "I tell you one thing. I'm sorry I voted for Connie." I said, "What'd you say? I thought you voted for me." You know. So, but yeah, that was I worked with 73 votes, but of course the hurricane hit right after that too, and then we lived through the first hurricane I lived through was in '47, 4 years old. We sat in the front room of the house and we watched the trees do this, and Mom, every time a puff of wind come, my grandmother would go, like this. So, and of course Camille was the first time we left to go somewhere. Now, as far as Ocean Springs, a lot of the old times, a lot of my friends, sad to say, they're gone. Some have moved away, some now passed. And so I have some of my friends now. Of course, our class is over 50% gone. Mm-hmm. We got some that are sick now. And of course, I was fortunate 2 years ago that I survived what I had sepsis and staph infections, and I lost 35 pounds and 5 units of blood, and there just from February to July of 2 years ago,
That was close. Yeah. That was a close call.
Being Catholic, Father came, gave me the last rites of the church.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, so everything seemed to turn around, and of course I can't walk any great distance. I'm going again next week to see the neurosurgeon. I got 2 cysts in my back pressing against the nerves, the L4 and L5. And that affects some of the things, So, so I'll do anything right now just to be able to get up, because I'm just tired of being waited on, and I can't do things. I think our life would be so much easier if I could drive and take her like we used to do. Go out to eat and even go to a movie or something like that. I'll go to Hattiesburg. I miss going to my football, basketball.
Oh, of course you do.
But the thing about all my buddies who Billy Hughes and all them, they're all dead. We used to load up in his.
We have to start making younger friends.
I know.
Chelsea's my young friend.
Well, we load up in that Suburban and go everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I'm the only one left.
I know. I know it's sad. Listen, I want to ask you one or two more questions, and then we'll wind it down.
Okay.
If you had something to say to the younger generation about your life, things you've learned, what would be words of wisdom that you would like to pass on?
Well, the best thing I guess I did was I went back to college in 1968. Because I had went to Perk 2 years and went to work at Ingalls. And Johnny was going to college, and I didn't want John to be ahead of me. So I went back to college.
After you'd already finished?
No, I would finish 2 years at Perk.
Okay.
I went to work. I had no money. I wanted to be an architect. I went back to Ingalls to see if I could raise some money. We both paid our way to college. And so I went back and took a leave out from Ingalls, went back, and I finished in 70. And I stayed with him for 10 years, and I wasn't going anywhere. So I went to work in New Orleans. But during that time, during the interim, I worked with RCA on developing the Aegis weapon system on the ships. In fact, I helped design a lot of those systems, believe it or not. There's some they're shooting those missiles now, all that stuff. Okay. So I got to know them, and then they were looking for somebody, and I went to work for them. And 29 years I went through.
Did you commute back and forth?
No, I was off-site representative at the shipyard.
Okay.
I went back home for meetings to New Jersey, where the main office was.
Okay.
Of course, I traveled. I went to Washington, D.C. for meeting, California. I went to Japan, to other different places, you know, with them doing the job. But then RCA sold to GE, and then GE sold to Martin Marietta and merged with Lockheed. I stayed 29 years,
Wow.
never moved. Stay right
I
there.
think your message is get an education.
Yeah.
Get an education.
I'm saying, not necessarily a degree. Go find you a trade, something you can make money at. 'Cause I know a kid right now he's 27 years old and he's working in bars and that kind of stuff. Has no college. What's he going to do when he gets old? You know, and people that don't go, they have nothing. They don't work and have retirement or have enough Social Security to live off of and so forth.
Yeah.
But that was the best thing I ever did. It was I went back to college, and I was fortunate to have worked with those people. And they knew I knew the shipyard, the ins and outs. They knew I knew the systems, and so I helped design them. Like I said, and I moved up to management and made six-figure money. Got a good retirement now. I get max Social Security, everything else. So you know, I make more Social Security than most family people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'd go.
That's good advice. So what would you say you loved about growing up in Ocean Springs? Like, why did you?
A small town atmosphere. I had friends, you know, and there was, and like I said, I'd go visit a place. I didn't like traffic. I mean, I was so glad when I went to Washington, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and all that stuff. I was glad to get on an airplane and come home because it was just so.
Simpler life.
I was very fortunate to be able to get those jobs and be able to stay right here. He would stay with Mom and take care of her. And of course, I married her in 1986, you know, and of course, that was just about the start of. In fact, I started working with RC when I was dating her, you know. So
Okay.
I was able to stay right here. I was offered a full-time job in Japan, but I just didn't know whether I came back, whether I could go stay here or have to go to New Jersey to work. That's where the home office was. But, you know, did just a small town boy, you know. I was successful. And of course, we did a lot of good things, you know, my brother and I did. We found things to do. Like we played cork ball, you know, wrapped a cork up in tape and used a broomstick and made this forward, hit that forward. There's a single, double, triple home run line. We played that. We played football, but baseball in the street. We played touch football on Sunday and all. Everybody knew everybody, you know. And I was happy to. I didn't want to go run off. A lot of people have to leave because they can't find work. You know what they're doing.
You've had a good life. You've had a good life.
All things considered, Johnny and I both
You did.
were very successful, and we didn't get a dime from Uncle Sam. Not a dime. In fact, when Daddy died, he didn't buy us a loaf of bread. He didn't have enough quarters to get Social Security. Kind of help it all. So we made it on our own with the help of Mother, you know, too.
She sounds amazing.
So she was.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the main things I remember about Johnny and Travis. Their mother was just such a stabilizing force in their life, and
What's her name again?
and good.
Marguerite, Virginia, Seymour, Norman.
Okay.
And all your relatives around. Y'all had a big support system too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The neighborhood, I mean, the thing about the neighborhood, too, you know, we were all close together. We walked to school together. You know? And, of course, St. Alphonsus was 2 blocks away. We rode the bicycle. We walked, you know. And, of course, when I got in high school with the other guys I knew, and, you know, we'd walk. Or some mornings I'd take Mama in the car, and I'd bring the car back, and I'd drive some of us to the school and park the car in the parking lot there at E.R. Moore, you know. But, you know, it was, you know, I can say that, you know, a lot of people, the towns they live in, they say, I got to get out of here. But I never thought that, you know.
Exactly.
But we need to advertise this place. I do on Facebook, you know. Every time we have something about Ocean Springs, I share it all over the country, you know.
Yeah. Some people would say, Travis, stop that. We've got enough people here.
Yeah, and there's so much to the schools and all. and we get a lot of stuff with the other schools and all the test scores and also how the industry and stuff and jobs and all are really coming. And I think they're doing a good job in Jackson that I know of. You know.
Yeah. We've got a lot of things going for us. We've got a great school system, and we've got a good healthcare system.
We got an advertisement New Year's Day out of London when the band went over there and played.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh,
That
yes.
The who? What?
The band played in the.
Oh, the band, wasn't that cool?
Yeah, that was really cool.
was-
They won everything, even the string band, not string band, but the wind band
Yes.
won best. Though they won everything,
That was amazing.
and all the advertisements. You know, it just. And I sent that all over country to everybody. You know.
Yeah.
You have Greyhound pride.
Yeah.
Yep.
I bought these. I bought this 3 years ago. This fall, we went and inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame, Ocean Springs.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Okay, remind me how tall you are.
I was 6'7", but now I'm down about 6'6". I shrunk a little bit. But I was 6'7", 170 pounds, soaking wet. Now I'm about 6'6", about 220.
How tall
about
was your
230.
brother?
He's about 6'3",
How tall was your dad?
6'9".
I knew there was someone
6'9"?
taller than you. That's who it was.
My goodness. And your mother was not
5'8".
okay. Okay.
But my dad was the top basketball player with the Conservation Corps. He won top basketball player.
Oh,
Yeah, I had that yearbook from the Conservation Corps from this, and I remember you had commented because there was a picture of your dad.
They called him Slim.
Did you have a nickname?
Yeah, SOB. They called me Beanpole a lot too, because I was skinny, tall and skinny. See,
but you
so
said
I was 6 foot tall in 8th grade.
Wow.
Then I go through to 4 inches,
Once you broke your ankle.
4 inches,
yeah, 4 inches.
and three more, and three more after that. So,
Yeah.
so when I finished, I was 6'7", 170 pounds. So of course I used a lot of finesse we played a lot of the big farm boys. You know, my height, 240 pounds, 50 pounds. So, but we in fact, they use our team films, a lot of coaches just for training films. How we played
That's
basketball
so cool. Are there any stores or restaurants that you'd say you miss the most?
here in town. Henrietta's.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
That's what a lot of people
Yes,
say.
I love it.
Then the Caravan, they had a good hamburger. My Caravan truck stop
I don't remember that
out
one.
east of town. There, you know,
I don't
Where
remember
was
that.
that?
it was out past Walmart out there. It's right there. After you passed Raleigh Road down on the south side, called Caravan Truck Stop.
Very cool. I didn't know
And
about that one.
good hamburgers.
Are there any things that you think the world needs to remember about you or Ocean Springs or your family? Everything, but any last words?
I don't know. I mean, it's just Narcisse had 14 kids. That's all the Seymours scattered everywhere. But one sad part about one of his sons was killed by worked for the railroad. He fell under the damn train, cut his
Oh
legs off.
Lord.
Oh, I think I remember hearing that story.
Yeah, and but that's about. I guess you know. And I guess I don't know who's going to remember me. I don't know, but
Well, everyone now,
it doesn't bother me.
so you're okay with that.
I don't care what I say on the Facebook anyhow. You know, so I tell them
I love it. when
I
you
tell
say
them like
okay,
it is.
but-